Aloha everyone. It's a beautiful sunny day in Lahaina, and I figured today'd be a good day to do an update on the recovery process here as we're approaching nearly 10 months since the big Lahaina fire. Now, we've made a ton of progress. As you can see behind me, this is my neighborhood, Kahoma Village, where they have completed the cleanup process, and there's been a ton of progress in the town itself as well. And on top of that, the county is now to the point where they're issuing permits for residents to start rebuilding their homes. So let's get the drone up in the air so you can see for yourself exactly what Lahaina Town looks like right now and how much progress we've made over the past month. Let's take a look.
Just like my previous videos, we're going to start the tour on the far south end of Lahaina Town in an area called Puamana. We're going to follow the coastline heading north all the way up to the Wahikuli neighborhood before circling all the way back a little bit farther up the mountainside. We're also going to take a flight following Lahainaluna Road all the way up to the bypass and back down the mountainside following the Kahoma stream. As always, I'll share timestamps in the description down below to the key neighborhoods and landmarks that we pass along the way, so you can jump to any of the areas that are of the most interest to you. So again, we're flying right over the top of the Puamana community and coming up on the part of the neighborhood that was impacted by the fire. On the right hand side of the screen, you can see the first few lots that have been cleared with the gray gravel spread over the top of the red dirt for erosion control. According to the Army Corps of Engineers, as of the first week in June, they've cleared 1,183 residential lots of their ash and debris, and they have just 216 more lots that have not yet been cleared. So for the first time since I started doing these video updates of Lahaina Town, it's obvious that the majority of the cleanup process has been completed. To give you a point of reference as far as our location, we're now flying over the southernmost end of Front Street. You know, I was really curious to see if I could find any evidence of new construction starting on any of the cleared lots. The county has issued a handful of building permits for residents to start rebuilding their homes. But just like the cleanup process, I imagine it'll take a while for the building permit review process to ramp up in speed. According to the report at the last Lahaina Disaster Recovery meeting, a total of 10 permits have officially been issued, with around 54 permits currently under review. So it sounds like they have found a way to streamline the permitting timeline to the point where it only takes an average of 2 to 5 business days to intake a permit application, and only an average of 15 business days to go through the whole plan review, as long as all the architects, engineers, and consultants respond to comments in a timely manner. By the way, we just passed Lahaina Shores condominium complex on the left-hand side of the screen, and we're about to fly past the shops at 505 Front Street. We're also passing the area known as Moku'ula, which is a Native Hawaiian historic and cultural landmark that was buried more than a century ago. The land was considered sacred and was the site of King Kamehameha III's royal palace. In April of this year, the governor announced that he intends to take unilateral action to restore this historic area and return it to the people of Lahaina. We're now coming up on the Lahaina Harbor and the Banyan Tree area. We're going to start a new flight and we'll fly directly over the top of the Banyan Tree. We'll also be passing over what remains of the King Kamehameha III elementary school. Just past the Banyan Tree, you can see there is a crew working on the cleanup of what once was the Wharf Cinema Center. This is the area that held Lahaina's movie theater and restaurants like Down the Hatch, Captain Jack's, and Cool Cat's Cafe. We're now back to flying over the top of Front Street and about to pass the old Baldwin Home Museum. This is where we start a long stretch of commercial properties like restaurants and shops. You'll notice that since my last aerial tour of Lahaina, there has been a lot of progress in the cleanup of the commercial properties in this location. We're now about to pass the intersection of Lahainaluna Road and Front Street. By the way, the Army Corps of Engineers did release some statistics on the commercial cleanup of Lahaina Town. As of the first week in June, they had cleared 39 commercial lots out of 159 total that need to be cleared. Of course, the priority has always been to clean up the residential lots first so residents can rebuild their homes. But I expect the commercial areas will start to ramp up in the speed of cleanup as we start to close out the cleanup of the residential areas. We're now flying over the top of the area that once held the outlets of Maui. And we'll be entering back into an area that's primarily single-family and multi-family homes. We're going to be passing over the Lahaina United Methodist Church and crossing over the intersection at Baker Street. You can see that the Channel House condominiums have not yet been cleared of the ash and debris, but Lahaina Residential has. We're now passing the Baby Beach area on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, Baby Beach is not shown in this video, but I recently did a separate tour that showed Baby Beach and its neighborhood, including the Lahaina Jodo Mission Buddhist Temple, which I've been getting a lot of requests for from people in the comments. If you want to see an aerial tour of Baby Beach, go ahead and check out that video after you finish this one. We're now flying over my neighborhood at Kahoma Village, and as you can see, this neighborhood was mostly unaffected by the fire with the exception of 4 townhome buildings and 1 single-family home. During the introduction of this video, you saw me standing in front of the cleared lots for the townhomes that were burnt down. And we'll get an aerial perspective of those cleared lots on our return flight in the other direction that's a little bit farther up the hillside. We're now about to fly over the Kahoma Stream and coming up on a portion of Front Street that is open to the public. This area includes the Cannery Mall, Old Lahaina Luau, Aloha Mixed Plate, and Mala Ocean Tavern. By the way, I have released some short videos that highlight a few of the businesses that have reopened in Lahaina on my Instagram. I'll share a link to my Instagram account in the description below in case you'd like to follow me on that platform as well. Okay, now we're coming back into a residential area, this time on the far north end of Front Street. At the top of the screen on the left-hand side, you can actually see Kaanapali off in the distance. And in the middle of the screen on the left-hand side, we're coming up on the Lahaina Roads condominium complex. As you can see, this area does have a lot of progress as far as the cleanup is concerned. The majority of the lots have been cleared of their ash and debris. And you'll see even more evidence of that as we go into the Wahikuli neighborhood just across the highway. Let's start a new flight here, this time on the mountainside of the Hono'opilani Highway, and again, this is the Wahikuli neighborhood. As the focus shifts from the cleanup process to now rebuilding the town, the county has started to set up neighborhood planning meetings to get feedback from the residents in different parts of Lahaina Town. In addition to the residents' input, a group of Maui leaders visited Japan just a couple weeks ago to learn more about how their Tohoku region navigated a significant rebuild after their earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear accident in 2011. The trip was hosted and 100% funded by Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the intention was to share innovative recovery strategies with lessons that could possibly be applied to Maui's reconstruction. So we're coming to the end of the Wahikuli neighborhood here, and I still haven't seen any evidence of new homes being constructed in the existing neighborhoods. However, at the top of the screen now, you can see that construction has started on the temporary housing projects that are located just above the Wahikuli neighborhood. The larger project is being built by the state and will consist of 450 prefabricated units. The smaller project that is straight ahead right now is the Kilohana temporary housing, which is being built by FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers. Kilohana is planned to have 169 total units, and it looks like they've already started to put some of the sewer lines in. So if you appreciate these video updates of Lahaina, please take a second to hit the like button. I've noticed a lot of misinformation being spread through social media, so I think these videos are important, as it gives everyone a chance to see for themselves what's actually happening in Lahaina. And it gives everyone a chance to form their own opinions based on what they see with their own eyes. That being said, I'm really curious to hear what you think. Based on what you've seen so far, what are your opinions on Lahaina's recovery efforts so far? Are you surprised to see this much progress in the cleanup, or do you think things should be moving much quicker? Also, is there anything we should be doing differently? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. We're now coming to the end of the Wahikuli neighborhood. Straight ahead, you can see the yellow building. That's the Lahaina Gateway Center, where they have Ross, Ace Hardware, and Foodland Farms. And as we spin the camera here, you're also going to see the construction project that was actually started prior to the fire. It looks like they're making good progress as well. Okay, starting a new flight here, this time back on the ocean side of the Honoapi'ilani Highway, and continuing our path heading towards the south. We're now flying past the Safeway grocery store and Cannery Mall, this time on the right-hand side of the screen. And straight ahead, you can see that we're coming up on two more construction projects. These are actually commercial projects that were planned prior to the fire. We're about to fly over the Kahoma Stream once again, and coming up on Kahoma Village, and as promised, you get to see the cleared multifamily lots that are now actually in the review process for permitting. We're going to jump ahead a little ways and start a new flight, this time following Lahainaluna Road all the way up the hillside. We'll be passing the location where the Pioneer Inn was prior to the fire, and we're also coming up on the Pioneer Mill smokestack. The area around the Pioneer Mill smokestack is actually being used as a staging and breakdown area for a lot of the steel and concrete that's being removed from properties. There's been roughly 226,000 tons of wildfire ash and debris that's been removed from the properties. To give a little perspective, that's enough to fill the Washington Monument 3 times. In addition to all the ash and debris that's being removed from these properties, there's also been 2,632 burnt vehicles that have been removed from Lahaina Town. We're now entering into the old Lahainaluna Neighborhood. And again, you can see just a ton of progress with the cleanup. There's hardly any properties that have not yet been touched. So you can see we're approaching the Lahaina bypass at the top of the screen, and this is pretty much the end of the burn zone in this direction. So we're going to spin around and start heading back down, this time following the Kahoma Stream. As we turn, bring your attention across the Kahoma Stream, looking at the Emerald Plaza commercial area. In that area, there's an affordable housing apartment project that had completed construction just prior to the fire, but unfortunately, it was burnt all the way to the ground. It's tough to tell from the distance, but it does look like they have already started vertical construction on the rebuild of that affordable housing project. Now, that would be a huge step forward, as it's a total of 89 units of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom properties that are rented at affordable rates to Lahaina residents. So we're now coming up on the Kahoma Street bridge that crosses the Kahoma stream. And just on the other side of that bridge, you see on the right-hand side is the Hoonanea condominium complex, which is in the process of cleanup. And on the left-hand side of the screen is the Opukea at Lahaina condominium complex, which has also made good progress on the cleanup of the buildings that did burn down. We'll turn here and follow Limahana Place for a few seconds. Now straight ahead and directly below us is what once was the Mind's Eye Interior building. This is another area that holds a lot of commercial properties. And as you can see, there has been a whole lot of progress in the cleanup of this area since my last video. At the end of the street on the cul-de-sac is where the Sugar Cane Train food truck park was before the fire. And just past that, we're about to fly over the building that held the Kohala Brewery. We've almost circled all the way back to Lahainaluna Road. You can see the Pioneer Mill smokestack straight ahead. So let's jump back across the highway to the ocean side, and we'll pick up where we left off at the outlets of Maui, and continue to follow Wainae Street all the way to the south end of Lahaina Town. We're passing the Lahaina Square Shopping Center on the left-hand side of the screen, and coming back to the intersection of Wainae and Lahainaluna Road. The building straight ahead with the bright red roof is one of Lahaina's Catholic churches. And just past the church is the start of the Aina Nalu condominium complex, which was a short-term rental resort property right in the historic district of Lahaina Town. As we get closer, you can see that they have started to clear the lots at Aina Nalu. In the middle of the screen, you see a large square-shaped rock wall that's actually made out of coral. That is the old prison museum. And of course, just past the prison museum is Prison Street. Another part of Lahaina's recovery process that we really haven't discussed so far is the reforestation efforts. It's estimated that before the fire, there were around 25,000 trees in Lahaina Town, and that only around 1,000 survived. One of the organizations that's leading the way in this effort is a nonprofit called Tree Covery Hawaii. It's the vision and mission of Tree Covery Hawaii to keep the trees that are in the fire zone alive and to provide trees for no charge to the residents and businesses in Lahaina that lost their trees in the wildfire. Other groups of volunteer arborists, including Lahaina Treescape Restoration and Project Regreen Lahaina, have also sprung up to help in this effort. As we finish off the flight, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for their continued support. I really am blown away by all the comments from people saying how much they appreciate these videos. Please keep the comments coming. I do my best to respond to as many as possible. And as long as you all continue to find value in these videos, I will continue to make them. Of course, feel free to share this video with anybody that you know that would like to see and hear the truth of exactly what is happening on the ground in Lahaina Town. And let me know if there's any particular topics about Lahaina's recovery that you'd like me to focus on in future videos. We're now approaching Puamana once again, where we started this tour. So that'll be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. all the way to the end, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Aloha.